Welcome to the third section of lecture number 10. In this section, we'll learn everything about Git that we need to get our vibe coding career started. So let's start from the very basics. We already cloned a project here, and we already opened a cursor in the last lecture. But what you will see in here is a few pieces of information. There is a folder called .git. That means that this folder is of a type that has something to do with our GitHub. It is basically sending information to Git if we want to, or when we push it to GitHub. Okay, so I'm gonna take it very smoothly, like one small step at a time, in order to teach you these very basic important commands. So if I teach you this git status, what does it do? It shows you what is the current status of this git branch. It says that you are currently on branch main. What does that mean? If we go to our GitHub repository that we have created earlier, we don't see anything here. It just says that this project is empty. Okay, nice. How about we go and make something in this project? I can open cursor. I already have cursor open here. I can ask cursor to do something for me here. Can you please create a README file for the following content? This project is called README. Sorry, no, not README. This project is called Vibe Stage. It's a project that allows me to collect emojis from my online audience in a workshop. When I have hybrid workshops, people joining in person and people joining on a Zoom call, the emoji or the messaging of Zoom is too small. I want to create a web application that basically allows me to create a little bit of a vibe stage, or kind of like portray the vibe of people who are joining online with emojis on a big screen. Can you write a very detailed README file for my project? What is a README file? Meanwhile, cursor is generating this. I'd like to explain. README file is basically your guide for your repository. It shows you what is where, how to use this project, and so on and so forth. So you can already see that it generated a lot of content based on that one prompt. In order to see this so-called Markdown, MD stands for Markdown. It's a file format. It's like DOC document, XLS, Excel, and so on. This is Markdown. Now if you press Command Shift V, it will show it to you in a view section, so that you can see it a little bit with all these headlines and bullet points and so on. So I just needed to create something. I just created it. Good enough. Now I want to save this on my GitHub repository, so that I go here on this GitHub repository. I need to see this. How do I do this? It's very simple. Let me show you how to do that. So first you need to go to your terminal. Now, since I did this git status before, there was no commits yet, and nothing was happening in the repository. Now if I do git status, you will see that something has happened. README. This is a file that is not tracked yet. If I go here and I click on this icon, I can also see that these are the files that are changed that are not yet done. If I close this part, you'll see that before it was nothing, now it is there. So that's how you basically should see it. That's the before part. This is the now part. Later on, this will make more sense once we go onwards. Anyways, so now I want to do git add dot. This will add all the files that we have changed. Now it's there. Now if I do git status, you will see that it turned green. That means now it is so-called staged, or so-called ready for sending it to GitHub. Now the next step I need to do is git commit -m and then write something. Added README and then quotations closed. Now if I explain this a little bit in more detail, you have git command. In this git command, I said commit this. What commit means is basically save it as a memorable piece of information so that I can go back to whenever I want, but it basically stacks over it. It keeps piling up information. It keeps it in a so-called Git S3, which you'll know in a minute. And then it basically asks, I will provide you a message for that. I will provide you a title for that thing that you need to save. And then this is the message that I provided. These are single quotations, or they can also be double quotations. What happens if you want to write a single quotation inside? Write double quotations, and then you say someone's code isn't working or something like that. So you can write single quotations inside double quotations. But for the time being, I just need to say added README quotation marks close, hit enter. What happened now is that we have created a so-called Git entry, and it give it an ID number like this. It's a unique ID number on GitHub. And if I right now type git log, it will show me a log of all the things that I have done in here. There, you will see later on that this will grow. This is the very first one, and it got a so-called hash, or a so-called commit hash, or a so-called commit ID. And it's yet not on GitHub. You can see that if I go to my GitHub account, if I refresh the page, nothing is there. So let's go to our terminal. The last thing you need to do is git push. And there we go. It uploaded everything to GitHub. Now if I come back to GitHub, I refresh the page, I will see that README file uploaded on GitHub. Now, whatever happens to my laptop, my code is saved here. And my project is here with this so-called private tag, which means it's protected, it's on the cloud, no matter what happens to my computer. I can go anywhere else in the world, use my code. But let's change something. Let's go on, close all of these things, come back to IDE. I want S to be capital. Let's do that across everywhere in this file. Like this, you can do replace all, so there are 6 places. Now that change has been saved. If I go back here and I click that thing, you will see that these lines have changed. Here, 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 and so on. So that's how you see the changes inside this approach, or this git diff, or difference between the two. Or alternatively, you can, on the terminal, type git space diff, enter, and then you can see it here. It's kind of like not showing it side by side, it's showing it one on the top of another. Red means it's deleted, green means it's added. And in this case, now you need to press Q on your keyboard in order to get out of that screen. Okay, again, the same steps. Git status, you see that something changed. Git add dot, you add it. Then you put a commit on the top of it. Changed vibe stage to vibe stage. Still not done. You need to also do git push. So these are 2 extremely important commands. You need to see the git status. Then you need to do all, like add all of them, git add dot. And then you need to give it a commit message. And then you need to do a git push. Now if I show you git log, you will see 2 of them stacking. The very first one goes on the bottom, the very last one goes on the top. And their IDs are unique, always they are unique. Now, if I go back to my repository, if I refresh, I want all the S's to be capital. There we go. And that's, my friend, how you use Git, and that's how you save information in Git and push it on GitHub. And across the continents, anyone who's collaborating with you can receive that change of the code that you have done, and they can work in a collaborative manner. Even if you're working alone, you must use Git because it creates those hashes, or it saves your code in multiple checkpoints, because when something goes wrong, you can go back one checkpoint. With Lovable and Riplet and everything, it is done for you, but since you're going to be the best vibe coder in the world, you're going to learn this Git command.